Tired of scrolling past the same old stuff on Netflix? Time to start the faith-filled binge. From Blind Quarterbacks to Miracle Marlins, we've handpicked 5 Christian movies on Netflix that'll move your heart and fire up your soul. Let's go. We are starting off with the movie The Hill. It is one of those rare Christian films that doesn't preach from the pulpit, but instead lets the story do the talking. And oh, what a story it tells. Based on the life of Ricky Hill, this film blends faith, family, and baseball into a gritty, hope-filled journey that feels refreshingly real. Ricky is a preacher's kid growing up in rural Texas, shackled by leg braces and a spine condition that would knock most kids down for good. But instead of breaking, Ricky bends toward purpose. This boy is a prodigy, and he firmly believes it's what God made him for. But his dad, James, played by Dennis Quaid, doesn't see it that way. To him, baseball is a worldly distraction. He's convinced God's will for Ricky lies behind a pulpit, not home plate. And so begins a battle between father and son, but also between fear and faith, between calling and comfort. You'll see bullying, medical hardship, heartbreak, and plenty of spiritual wrestling. But you'll also see a young man's faith stretch far beyond the church walls. There's one standout scene, a monologue from Ricky, that speaks volumes about using our gifts to glorify God, wherever we're placed. The Hill doesn't sugarcoat anything. It's raw, honest, and grounded in real-life grit. There's prayer, scripture, spiritual struggle, and redemption. For Ricky, and for his father too. And while the film tackles tough issues, it does so with humility and hope. So if you're tired of soulless blockbusters and want a movie that'll leave your spirit cheering, The Hill steps up to the plate and knocks it out of the park.
Our next pick is the movie The Two Popes. It takes us behind the scenes of the Vatican, with soul-searching, humor, and surprising warmth. It's not so much about theology, much more about humanity. Less holy robes, more humble regrets. At the center are Pope Benedict XVI, played with quiet restraint by Anthony Hopkins, and Cardinal Jorge Bergoglio, the man who would become Pope Francis, played by Jonathan Pryce, practically glowing with charisma. What begins as a formal meeting about Bergoglio's resignation turns into a weekend of confession, confrontation, and unexpected friendship. Now don't let the setting fool you. You won't see 2 old men muttering Latin in a dark cathedral. There's soccer, pizza, a BBA, and tango dancing in the Sistine Chapel. But underneath all the charm, the film wrestles with real stuff: guilt, doubt, forgiveness, and the terrifying weight of leadership. Both men carry wounds. Benedict, burdened by the church's scandals. Francis, haunted by his past during Argentina's dirty war. And in the silence between them, we watch walls come down. Visually, it's stunning. From the sunlit courtyards of Castel Gandolfo to a full-scale replica of the Sistine Chapel, everything feels reverent but alive. The dialogue is sharp, thoughtful, and often surprisingly funny. These are real men grappling with the divine and the deeply human. Yes, The Two Popes takes creative liberties. It's not a documentary, but it does offer something rare, a glimpse of faith through the eyes of 2 flawed, faithful men trying to hear God's voice in a noisy world.
Our third choice is the movie Penguin Bloom. It tells the true story of Samantha Bloom, an active, adventurous mother whose world turns upside down after a fall from a rooftop during a family vacation leaves her paralyzed from the chest down. Naomi Watts plays Sam with quiet devastation. She's not instantly brave or noble. She's angry, shut down, watching life happen around her while feeling like a burden in her own home. Her husband tries to hold it all together. Her kids don't fully understand, and her own identity slips further away each day. Enter a scrappy, injured magpie named Penguin. No, Penguin doesn't heal her with magical bird powers. But somehow, in its brokenness, Sam sees her own. The small, feathered creature stumbles, recovers, and flaps wildly toward life, while Sam watches from the sidelines. Then, something shifts. She begins to care again, first for the bird, then for herself. Penguin Bloom doesn't preach, it observes. It lets us walk beside a woman learning how to be whole again in a body that feels broken. You won't find easy answers or dramatic miracle, just the slow, clumsy rebuilding of family, faith in oneself, and the courage to live a different kind of life. The cinematography is tender, the performance is grounded, and the symbolism is quietly powerful. You'll laugh, maybe cry, and definitely think twice the next time you see a bird on your windowsill.
Our next pick is the movie
The Forge. Isaiah Wright thought he had life all figured out. At 19, he's coasting, playing video games, hanging out, and living off his mom's hard work. But here's the problem, mom's done with it. After a showdown about groceries, she gives him a month to figure things out and start taking responsibility. Cue the panic. Enter Joshua Moore, a no-nonsense fitness company president who sees potential in Isaiah, even when Isaiah's doing his best to brush him off. When Isaiah thinks he's just filling out an application for a job, Joshua has a different idea. I'm not just hiring you, I'm mentoring you. What follows is less about spreadsheets and more about life lessons, grit, and a whole lot of tough love. Joshua's helping him become a man of honor, responsibility, and faith. The Forge is the story of a young man struggling to find purpose, but with the right mentor, he starts to realize that true growth is about getting your heart right and being someone others can depend on. From work ethic to personal integrity, Isaiah's journey shows us that maturity is about the choices we make and who's willing to help us along the way. And the last, but certainly not the least, is the movie 23 Blast. It is based on the jaw-dropping true story of Travis Freeman, a teen football star in Corbin, Kentucky, who suddenly loses his eyesight after a mysterious infection attacks his optic nerve. One day he's leading his team down the field. The next, he's waking up in total darkness. And here's where most stories would end. But Travis? He's just getting started. When the film opens, Travis is every bit the classic all-American kid, popular, athletic, future wide open. But when his world goes black, grief hits hard. He's angry, lost, struggling to find his footing, literally and emotionally. His parents want to protect him. His friends don't know how to act. And Travis himself? He can't imagine life being anything but over. But Coach Ferris doesn't give up on him. Neither does his best friend Jerry. And most importantly, Travis begins to feel that God hasn't given up either. Slowly, through sweat, setbacks, and a whole lot of stubborn faith, Travis trains to get back on the field. As a blind center. Yeah, a blind football player. You can't make this up. 23 Blast is gritty, humble, and 100% heartfelt. It leans on faith but doesn't push it in your face. It shows that trust in God sometimes means doing hard things, even being afraid, and choosing joy anyway. The performances are solid, the message is strong, and the fact that it's all based on a true story, that makes it even more powerful. There's something contagious about watching someone defy the odds with courage and quiet strength. 23 Blast is about vision, the kind you fight for. And in the end, it's not just Travis who changes, it's everyone around him. Because faith like his, it's impossible to ignore. Loved the list? Or did we miss your favorite? Drop your top Christian movie picks on Netflix in the comments. We're always up for a good watch. And if this blessed your feed, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who needs a lift.